And we are live. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. It is a Tuesday night. It is playoff week in South Africa and in the URC. After months and months and months of lots of group action and stuff like that, we are finally into playoff season. And it is a stacked weekend of rugby ahead of us before we then head into the international test window. And a bit of an update on the Springbok situation coming up in the next hour. We're going to be talking about everything. We're talking about the URC. We're going to be talking about the matches this weekend. We're going to be talking about the Currie Cup, the fact that it's also coming towards its sort of bigger sort of stages and stuff like that. If I'm not mistaken, there's just about, I think, 2 weekends left of Currie Cup action before we head into semi-finals, and the final on the 25th of June. And then literally a week after that, we're then into Springbok Test Rugby. So we're now really sort of coming to the end of the regular club season, and we had the European Champions Cup final over the weekend, and congratulations to Raymond Roulet and Dylan Lates for adding that to their trophy cabinet. And yeah, then we're going to be also all steam ahead with all the international rugby and lots of very cool international rugby, including a very interesting Ireland series. Obviously, Wales are coming down here, which will be really cool. And yeah, so the rugby season is going to hit us pretty thick and fast. A couple of things before we sort of get really stuck in is, first of all, if you are new, please can you smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, because we are trying to blast through that sort of 11,000 mark, and we've been sitting at 10,500. We're finally over 10,600, so we need to get 400 people, and then we can move into that 11,000 mark, and we've been trying to hit that for quite a while. So if you are new, please subscribe. And then second of all, if you guys saw, we have got a schedule out for the week, and we are going to try and stick to it as much as we can. Unfortunately, sometimes load shedding and the likes make it a bit more difficult, but there is a schedule on the week to come, and it's going to be the new sort of schedule that we're going to be trying to stick to. So there's going to be hopefully 2 rugby news shows a week. They will most likely be during the day. We're going to try and sort of move to probably a lunchtime slot, just because it's a bit more reliable in terms of timing, in terms of load shedding and stuff like that. There obviously could still be evening shows, and I think we actually at this stage would like to do one on Sunday night. But yeah, and there's also going to be 2 football shows a week, which should be very exciting. It's World Cup year, so we're going to be starting sort of the football build-up now, doing international watch-alongs, doing transfer news. We're sort of building to the next football season, which I think is going to be very exciting as well. And then we're also going to be, and there's none this weekend, but we're also going to be looking into sort of dabbing into a bit of Formula One as well. So yeah, it's going to be a cool. Yeah, I think I'm hoping we're gonna try our best to try and stick to the schedule. It's very difficult sort of balancing everything with everything, and making sure that we can sort of commit to it, because that's what we're going to do the day shows, because they're a bit more they're a bit easier for me to do in and around work hours and stuff like that. So yes. But anyway, how are we doing? Let me know where you guys are watching from. Let me know in the comments what you think, who we're excited to watch this weekend. Our first poll of the evening is, who will win their playoff game between the Sharks and the Bulls? We're going to ask you guys to go and vote on that. But let's get stuck in. So some people are getting very touchy about the fact that we weren't live just literally 3 minutes after the show. So calm down it. Yeah, I am wearing Kingswood jacket. It's an old coaching jacket of mine. I just found it and grabbed it and tucked it on. I used to coach there a couple of years ago. How's the squad? Hope you're well. Steve, the Lions won. Can you believe it? I actually couldn't believe it. And fun fact, I actually didn't even watch it. I was at the Lions Cricket Awards this weekend on Saturday night. So I actually missed the Lions winning the only Currie Cup match that they've won all season, which kind of sums up my career as a Lions supporter lately, in the fact that the one match I don't actually watch, they flip and win. So that was a bit frustrating, but what can you do? I see you wearing a tie from a previous school. BOK back 3 predictions: 11 Mapimpi, 14 Zusk, 15 Colby. Don't think Leon Zusk is going to be part of that squad, and I don't think Colby's going to be a fullback, unfortunately. I think Tion here. Good to see Tion. Says Chess is watching from George. Matthew Dixon's saying, "Let's go Sharks." Tim Vandenberg saying, "I think the Bulls with home ground advantage and without any cards should just narrowly edge the Sharks." and Anthony is watching from Bloomington, Illinois. So good to see some. We are cross continental. But in terms of some news, and we'll start with the box stuff before we go into sort of the more URC and stuff like that. And that's because there is a press release where they kind of clarified what's happening with the box squad and stuff like that. They unfortunately did not name any players, nor did they name a date as to when a squad will be announced. But basically, they just said that, and I quote here, a group of players will be invited to join the first week of the planned 3-week Springbok preparation camp in Victoria from Sunday, as the team gear up for the Castle Log incoming series, which features 3 test matches against Wales in July. So I don't know if that means that we're going to have a BOK announcement on Sunday, if we're going to have it maybe on Saturday night. It's a bit interesting. I mean, they're saying a group of players. As I said, they're not, talking about a squad. They're more preparation camps. So I think that from the sounds of it, I think there could be a sort of a larger training group, which will be whittled down to a final squad, and it all kind of comes down to the URC franchise in terms of when they're going to still be playing rugby. For example, one South African side definitely does not finish this weekend. Potentially we could have 2 South African franchises who would still be playing rugby after this weekend, but at least one, for example, will be finishing this weekend. And obviously the international players, moving up towards the Premiership final, then they can also start coming down here and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think that's sort of where the issue is in terms of why they haven't necessarily announced a squad and stuff like that. So I think that they are waiting, to sort of get closer. But they said a 3-week camp starts until the 23rd of June. They're going to be in Pretoria, and then they're going to be coming through to Johannesburg, and they're going to be based here until the first test, which ironically is back in Pretoria. But and then there's Bloemfontein and then Cape Town. And then we have a bit of a break, and they go and probably go on game drives and stuff like that, because they go up to Sabi ahead of the game against the All Blacks in Nelspruit on the 6th of August. So that is the plan. There is a plan. There does seem to be a plan. And Jacques Ninaba said, and I quote, "After months of preparation by the coaches off the field, we are excited to finally return to the field and put our learnings into practice. We will start our preparations with a group of invited available players to ensure that we can deliver quality training sessions, and as more players become available following their Vodacom URC campaigns, they will join the squad. We also have to be cognizant of the fact that we are building towards the 2023 Rugby World Cup, and that every training session and match we participate in needs to be in the back of our minds." In terms of speaking about Wales, he said they will be inspired to show what they can do in this series. We only have to look at the history books to see how close matches between these nations have been over the years. So we have to hit the ground running in July if you want to win the series and get the season off to the desired start. So, yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think. All signs point towards an extended squad, which will probably be whittled down, but just so they can have enough players to do proper training sessions and stuff like that. But yeah, opening is cold, Troy and petrol scare. Yeah, I pulled out my car earlier and I cried. It's flipping cold at the moment. Winter's definitely settled in this week. Did you see the rumors of Similarly moving to the Bulls? Yeah, no, I'll probably just cry if it happens. Eric Davis is watching from England. He says not far from the Newcastle Falcons. Hanny Nell says, does it really matter who win against this weekend because no one won against Leinster? Well, I don't think many people backed La Rochelle to go and beat them this weekend. It did happen, so... Yeah, never say never. Never say never. Tian says, do you think La Rochelle has given SA teams a bit of a blueprint on how to beat Leinster? Well, I mean, first things first, they've got to get to Leinster, don't they? But yeah, I think as you know, any team can be beaten. Obviously, Leinster is very stacked, and it's going to be a massive challenge for anybody that takes them on. But as we've seen this weekend, they can be beaten. You never know. You never know. They're obviously the favourites, but I think that Thomas Latoya was saying that the Sharks, he said that the Sharks currently have the favourites tag on them, and he says that that puts the target on their back. And I think that's an interesting point where everybody wants to beat Leinster. Everybody wants to beat Leinster at the moment. Everybody, that's like the thing. And so sometimes also when you have that expectation of when you play every game that you have to play well, you have to be out of the best, stuff like that. Sometimes people can buckle under the pressure. I'm not saying that's the case because it is an incredibly experienced squad, which is probably what I think gives Leinster that edge all the time. It's not just the fact that there are so many international players, but there's so much experience across the entire squad. There aren't sort of players that are going to panic, you know. Something like Johnny Sexton's not going to panic when the going gets tough. You look at that loose trio. Nobody here is panicking about that. But yeah, I think much the same as the Sharks. If sometimes that favourites tag comes with lots of expectations, and lots of people don't bow to the expectations. But from a Springbok point of view, be interested, as I said, be interested to see what sort of squad we are going to see. I think certain positions are going to be interesting. I think that the scrum off is going to be quite interesting. No Kubas Renox, so there is space for a scrum off. I also think that actually Yankees been struggling with a bit of form, so I'm interested to see if he still makes the squad or if they might sit there saying, listen, you need to play yourself back into the squad. Fly half is obviously a massive bit of a gap there, especially with the uncertainty surrounding the availability of Alton Yankees. There's been no updates in that case. We actually don't know what's going on there. Yeah, so I think fly half, we're going to have to name an extra fly half, and I don't know who they're going to go with. For me, Manny Liebach and Jordan Hendrickse are the obvious options in terms of they've been the two best fly halves in the country, in my opinion. Chris Smith's been good at sometimes, but I think lacks a bit of consistency sometimes. Manny Liebach's been the form fly half. He's scored all the points and has been playing very good rugby, but he's very much not a Springbok fly half in terms of what he's really good at in terms of his natural game. I think Jordan Hendrickse fits the mold a bit more, but he's very young. So, do they go with that sort of risk? So, I don't know. I'm interested to sort of see what they do. Katrina says, Fassi hasn't been too good at 15. I will put him at wing so he can get back his position. Henderson 9, 10. Why? I mean, Williams has not played a single match at fly half, and now you're going to play him at fly half against the Bulls in a playoff game. 12, 13 Cock, Mapimpi 11, 14 Fassi, 15 Bosch, and again Bosch has been playing orders rugby at fullback. I mean, you definitely do not tinker your team like that the week of playoffs. Do you expect to see Tyron Green or Estes in the box squad? I think Esterhazen will be there. I think he's playing too well not to be there. I don't think he was originally in their plans, but the way he's playing, you sit there saying, well, we can't not play him. So I expect to see Esterhazen there. I don't think we'll see Tyron Green there. I'd love to see Tyron Green there, but I don't think we will, unfortunately. But Taylor says Williams definitely starts over Hendrickse, 100%. Grant can start in that anyway versus Connacht. He played wing and brought some zip into the game. Yeah, but that was because of an emergency as opposed to Jason Colby can play fly half if very much needs be, but you're not going to start him at fly half against the All Blacks in August. If Andre Pollard and the other fly half option and Billy LaRue will go down during the game, then fine, you can start in there, but you're not going to name him there. I love how you always come with. I know the most. Yeah, it's very creative. I'll give them that. Contender selections are always very unique. Our says, who are the big name Boks you think that will be coming together this Sunday? In the news about Boks not taking part in the URC. Who's available? Well, what rugby is there still to play? So there's still Premiership, which is the problem. When does the Premiership finish? And there's still top 14. I think there's the Premiership final after this weekend. Top 14 is still going. So, yeah, I think that who are we going to see this? I mean, Damien Delen. I know, depending on what happens with Munster, could be flying down, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know who they're going to name. I'm very interested to see who's going to be in the squad because there's still a lot of players who are playing a lot of rugby. I mean, in theory, all the Lions players are available, but I don't think they're going to be that many Lions players in the squad, so that kind of nullifies that point. I've got no idea who's going to be in the box squad by camp on Sunday. I will try and find out. I will endeavor to find out. Can't say I've got too many inside contacts who could send me a list, but yes, we will try and find out if there are any names in particular who are potentially going to be there this weekend and what the story is going to be. Mandic says, Ruan Ackerman, Tyron Green to play for England. I think I could see Ruan Ackerman playing for England if he were to get there one day. I think Tyron Green very much still wants to play for South Africa. Whether he'll get there and how long he'll wait before he gives up on the dream, I don't know. But I think that he apparently had a conversation with Rassie Erasmus before he went over to sit there and say, I want to play for the Springboks. Will me going overseas hurt those chances? And Rassie basically said, you go, Chief. If you're good enough, you'll be playing for us. But yeah, Thornton Kane Moody, I think he's brilliant, by far one of our best defensive wings in the country. Cheston says Kane Moody has been something exciting so far and has played in different positions, making him the player to watch in the Sharks Bulls game, I tell you. Yeah, I think Kane Moody's got a very bright future ahead of him, and I think that they found a gem in him. I've been quite surprised at how quickly he's managed to step up at this level. So it's very exciting, and I think that especially in that back three, Mapimpi is aging. Chisholm Colby will be around for a while, but Willie LaRue is obviously aging, and there's quite a lot of spots available potentially. Spirit courses have quite a few injury issues, so there could be quite a lot of spots in that back three to open up, and you've got the likes of Fassi who's playing really well. Leon Zass is playing very well. Kane Moody's playing very well. I think that Ed van der Merwe is playing pretty well. So there's going to be quite a lot of players who are sort of all after those positions. Tim van der Berg, I feel like Alton Yankees isn't exactly in the mold of a BOK 10 either, so I don't think that's a good reason to not select Levi. Similarly, Pollard was starting at 10 at age 2021, so I'd back him. Yeah, well, that's the thing, but I think that, Alton Yankees never really, lots of people say he's never really looked comfortable in a BOK jersey. I think in the last 2 years, he's looked far more comfortable. But I think that, it's, as I said, it's an interesting one because I agree 100% because Alton Yankees wasn't in the mold of a BOK 10. But I think that's why I often looked out of place there. So, is that a reason that Liebok could still get selected? The fact that Alton has to... And look, at Alton's, funny enough, one of the top point scorers in Springbok history. And has played almost 50 games for the Springboks. So as much as people don't like him, he has had a reasonable Springbok career. But I'll be interested to see if they... Especially... And I think what makes it difficult for me is the fact that Andre Pollard is not playing his best rugby at the moment. He's still not playing his best rugby. So... Does that mean that you want to go with confidence in the likes of Liebok, or do you want to go with somebody who's more solid and less sort of a risky selection in terms of the way they play, like a Chris Smith, for example? Personally, I would have Hendricks in the squad. I'm not saying necessarily ahead of Liebok, but I'd have no issue with him being 21 or 20. I think he's 20. Still 20, yeah. I'd have no issue with him being in the box squad. I think he's very mature for his age. And as you said, Pollard was there anyway at that sort of age. Contender says 10 should be Pollard, Liebok, and Bosch. Chaps, I think that I'd be very surprised if there's anybody else in this comment section who thinks that Bosch should be in the box squad. I don't think there's too many Sharks supporters who think that Bosch should even be starting for the Sharks at fly half. Liebok has played wing for junior box and 15 for Sharks. Bok back 3-1. Kobe Willemse, Geland. Dude, why can't you just let people play in their positions? Why does everybody have to be so flippant dynamic and change and stuff like that? Like, Nakanya Kaz played on the wing. He's still the best outside center in the world, and he's played outside center. Let people play in their positions and leave them there. Not everybody has to be versatile. Guido says, "Are SAA games still on?" I haven't heard a thing about the SAA games. So I don't think they're going to go on. And I think that's very sad. I think, they were supposed to be playing against the French side. And I think that was going to be a perfect opportunity to get so many players into the system. And I don't know what's happened. I'd love to know what happened with that. Because there was a leaked schedule last year, which had an SAA game, or 2 SAA games, I think it was, against the French side. So that's very frustrating because that is exactly what we've been saying we need. Because then players that we're talking about, they can... For example, Jordan Hendricks can go and play for the SAA and be part of the box squad. That's the sort of obvious setup. Someone like Evan Ruiz, who wasn't necessarily part of the preparation camp. So that's the perfect time for him to go play for SAA. There's so many players that could play for SAA. I'm frustrated because it doesn't look like it is going to go through. Hello, Johan. Welcome to the stream. Zats deserves a callback as Lance. Frank's not back in the Bosch sides. Time and tension. Zats is overrated. So I prefer Tumware. If Colby injured for the box, then Kirkley Aronson will be perfect replacement for him. Nino Bow must just select Aronson in the squad. Isn't he out for quite a while? Why did I get the Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look good for this weekend, so I don't think, well, it's not obviously out for as long as I thought it was going to be. But yeah, apparently it's 50-50 for this weekend, so obviously still not completely over the injury issues, but yeah, very similar type player. Where we at? I would say the 10s in the playoffs and the URC is going to say a lot of performance. Levi must be second flyer for the box. Zas has been contention or in the BOK in the past before his injury, so I really think he deserves a call. Manny Leibach does not have a reliable boot. It could hurt his box chances. Good point. To be fair, neither did Andre Pollard last year. I'd rather bring back Mornay Stay than a Bosch there. Zas is too far down the pecking order, reckons Frank. Let us send good vibes to home affairs to bring Chatukas and time way to play BOK rugby. Lucy's prediction, Khaleesi, Ruiz, Peter Steph's Toy, Smith, Chatuka brothers, and one Safa in Europe. Oh, you can probably see Ronaldo. I'll step back on that side. Lance says Bosch brings in the points, but he's always had the possession of being too lig and do Brook. Does he offer BOK level defense? Don't think so. No, he doesn't. I think that's always been his issue, hasn't it? ISA franchise House don't have enough game management skills. Morris Stone had and will help Chris Smith, but over time I think the URC will help in the long term. Was Vincent Suka selected for the BOK camp? Well, he can't. He's still not South African, so he's not eligible to play for the Springboks. Unless a passport arrives this week, he will not be involved. If it does, I don't see how you don't pick him. I personally think that Vincent Tuka could be a front runner for the URC player of the season. I think he's won about 7 player of the matches, which is like almost one every like 1.5 games. I think it's stupid. One every second game. You know, the amount he's won is actually ridiculous. I don't think any player has had as big of an impact on their team as he has had for the Lions this season. And a lot of that says, I mean, it says a lot about how bad the Lions were. That one player could have such a big impact. But regardless of the fact, he still had to have that impact. Jan says Bulls are building on something special. I swear they'll eventually be like the Bulls team 2009 and won Super Rugby. Yeah, I think the problem is they're 2 steps forward, 1 step back because they were building something really special, and all of a sudden a couple of players have left. So it all comes down to can they replace them? Are they going to be the same? When the chips go down, can they rebuild and stuff like that? You know, I think it's going to ebb and flow. I think that they're going to have their fair share of challenges. Madash Tambwe is supposed to be leaving. I think Arno Boert is leaving. Obviously, Dwayne Vermeulen left. They've got no tight heads. Carly Sardi went to the Sharks, so he's not going to the Bulls. So I think there are lots of exciting players for the Bulls, but I think that they're also struggling with all the players who are going overseas and stuff like that. Shock and horror. Welcome to the Lions world. Tian is offering his passport. Yeah, listen, you can have mine as well. Literally, just go be Steve. And Dynamic Diamani. Yeah, I think Diamani's playing good rugby. I don't think we'll see a Springbok call up. I think if he plays like this next season, then maybe we can start talking about it. But I think that, and again, you know, I think that Diamani is not really in the BOK mold, especially if you're going to still have Kwaka Smith in there, because I think that they're quite similar players in terms of their athleticism. Obviously, Diamani's bigger, but in terms of being quick around the park, playing very good in the loose, good skill set. He wants to see his days into a Quader Cooper like comeback for box, 2 tries and a imperative performance to break Welsh hearts. Yeah, I mean, he still has to get part Damon Dalendy, who is the incumbent centre, and he's not going to start unless maybe the last test. If we won the series, we might see him start. So it'll have to be, and I don't think that Esther makes the bench with the way that the way our benches usually look. Time says I'm happy to Tuka left the Lions. Time for Renfen to stand up. No. No, there was certainly space for both of them. I quite liked Ron Fenter at lock because I think that we've got very poor locks. So seeing that both Chatukas, potentially Akril, Franco Horn, Ron Fenter, and either a North Narkle or Ruben Schoolman, I'd like to bring Franco Master back. I was quite excited about that. But yes, we definitely didn't need Chatuka to leave in order for Ron Fenter to stand up. Could have stood up quite okay with him as well. But he is a very exciting player. Rugby says Wasp must come to the box, but the structure and the way how the Bulls play is fantastic. Yeah, no, the Bulls play nice rugby. It's for me, it's a personality issue, but it's always been a personal issue. I mean, Lions, for example, play fantastic rugby, but they can't keep any players. So what's the point? You can't, you can endeavor to play nice rugby, but you've got to have the players at the end of the day. Greedish said the Springboks should stop this thing of picking like for like because it makes players who are different and have a unique way of playing not to play the way they want to. Yeah, look, I think the Boks are very system driven, but I think we have seen a little bit. I mean, look, there are still players in that box squad who are not necessarily who bring a bit something different. I think last year, for example, we finally saw how useful somebody like Quaka Smith is in terms of having that little bit of difference. Somebody who's a bit quicker around the park, very good at the breakdown, very good defensively, very good with scramble defense, for example. But I think that we are quite a structure-driven team. We've always been a structure-driven team. So I suppose it's a lot easier if you have that sort of structure and you have that playing style to then say, right, he comes in and he slots in. And it's quite easy to sort of be able to have within systems, people slot into a system. And if it's a good system, then it eases them slotting in a lot better. I would say his individuality doesn't win World Cups. Toronto has been tearing up the Prem and even getting mentioned Ninabar. Surely must be on the BOK radar. He's been on the BOK radar for a while because of how good he was at junior levels. I think that after 2023, I don't think we'll see him before then. I'd like to be wrong, but we're losing a lot. I mean, I think Sia Khaleesi pretty much hangs his boots up a year or two after the World Cup. Dwayne Vermeulen moves on. Quaka Smith's not that young. Even Peter Step is not that young. I mean, he'll probably make another World Cup. But all these guys are getting to that sort of wrong side of 30 and stuff like that. So there's going to be plenty of time for bringing a lot of these young players. And then you've got Alric Lowe's, Evan Roos, Pepsi Buthelezi, Jean Augustus, the Chitukas, for example. All these other young players who are then going to be sort of ready to take over. Matthew Dixon said we should maybe have a look at Rob Dupree for flower half. No, thank you. Sharks have the quality players, but they don't have the quality coach. Their structure is poor. Eventually, everyone will realize that Masati must start buying the right coaches. Chester says, Niova even have his own style of play. Was he taking Russie's blueprint? Is not a problem, of course. What works must stay. To be fair, I think that Russie's success was with Jacques Ninaba, so I don't think that there's going to be much difference. Maybe they might want to change a few things, but I think that they've always been very much a duo. So I don't think that there will be a massive change because obviously they're still very much involved, and Russie's still very much involved. So I don't think there will be much of a change. I just think there's been a difference in the sort of the way that within the squad it all works. Heinrich says, for most guys that played now Stormers, I'm scared because we play and I wonder if maybe Stormers go far in the competition. Our coach will adapt to their trial offload game. It'd be nice to see a more dynamic BOK team. Well, we started to see it, I think, a bit more towards the end of the year. I've always said that the longer they play, the more dynamic they can become. Do you think the Stormers will beat Edinburgh? Yeah, I back them. I think they might lose in the semis. Neil Powell's heading there for his defense coach. He's actually going next director of rugby, so I think it'll be interesting to see the impact he has. Frank Van Merwe, I don't think backs the Rob Dupree shot. Jan says Bulls are also financially doing good, so the boss will make sure that not everyone leaves. Yeah, but they're doing well, but they're not doing Sharks well. I think Sharks are doing a lot of side cuts to endorsements and stuff like that to try and get people to stay because there's no ways they are affording the contracts and the type of players who they've been keeping. Lancier says Rob is solid tactically and defensively. I'll just find Rob Dupree the definition of an average rugby player. I think he's good. In certain aspects, I think he's solid. I just don't think he's anything special, and certainly not, throwing the door open. Somebody saying that Johan Ackerman should go there. I'd cry. Biggest worries are the Sharks, Scrum, Pimpy, and I don't know. What do you mean? The biggest worry is the Scrum, Pimpy, and I don't think Lukanya is a Sharks worry. I think he's had one off game for them. Do we remember how good he was before he went to Japan? Do you think Marcel Garcia will make the BOK squad? I don't think he'll make the BOK squad. I wouldn't select him. Cornel Hendricks comeback, maybe a union of 14 Hendricks, Willie LaRue, and like 2014 Wales series where they were scoring tries galore. I don't think we'll see Cornel Hendricks in there. I think he's still got lots of health issues, which will prevent him from doing that. Leinster not losing after missing out the Champions Cup final. What's happened to the BOK Sevens? I mean, if we're being completely fair to the BOK Sevens, I think we need to look at the amount of injuries they currently have at the moment. I mean, Jordan Hendricks hasn't played a single Sevens game professionally since he became a professional rugby player, and he was flown in and played this weekend because they just do not have any flower halves. They are in a very much an injury crisis. So I'm not surprised they're not doing well. They do now have a 2-month break, so hopefully they'll be able to get the act together, get their squad back together, and rectify it for the World Cup. But I think that yeah, if we're going to be completely fair to them, we need to understand how many injuries they've had, and I think it has very much disrupted them. Goosen will be hopefully back soon. Oh, yeah, we're just going to get injured again, isn't he? You know, I don't care how talented he is. I wouldn't touch Goosen with a 10-inch pole. And unfortunately, it's just he's not reliable. He can't. He's too injury prone. You know, we saw it last year, playing some brilliant rugby. You know, that game against the SAA, he was fantastic, and everybody's like, "You see, there it is. That's the Springbok fly-off we know." I think what might have been the next game that he played, where bang, he gone and he's still been pushed back a few months, by the way. So they reckon he might at this stage. I think he's missing the start of next URC season, which will put him out of action for more than a year. So I don't think we can go anywhere near him. I think that's suicide. You reckon that Ackerman will eventually leave his Japanese club and come to coach the Sharks, as he was as a former Sharks player, and he will be paid well? I would like to see Jan Ackerman as the next BOK coach. Whether he will, I don't know, but that's the move I think that he would probably make. Grant Swartz, people are always calling for Moscow's here to be included in the BOK squad, but I can never see what he offers that's different to the current loose forwards. Yeah, again, you know, he's playing good rugby, but I don't sit there going he has to be in the squad because he can do what Khaleesi or whatever can't. You know, I think that his ship has unfortunately sailed. I don't think he would. I mean, I think every single time he pulls on a BOK jersey, he plays very well. I don't think he'd ever do it a disservice, but I don't think, especially at his age, he need somebody has to be fitted in because he's just playing such sensational rugby all the time. Yeah, Sharks getting Neil Powell at Blitzbox expenses have been cut lately. Yeah, but guys, I mean, I saw a narrative forming that the Blitzbox aren't doing well because Neil Powell's announced that he's going to leave. The announcement that he was leaving happened in June last year. In fact, I think it might even happen in May. They've known for a year that he was leaving. It happened before the Olympics. And after the Olympics is when we went on the whole winning streak and when we were untouchable. So I think that's a very, very lazy excuse in terms of, oh, well, they know he's leaving, so they've stopped playing well. You know, so do they only stop playing well now in the last few weeks because they know he's leaving? Because they've known he was leaving for over a year now. Imagine Sharks by Leo Cullen. It wouldn't be the worst idea. Do you think Walsh didn't come and play this weekend? I don't know, because obviously he was in the press conference this morning, and if you guys haven't seen it, it's up on the channel. That often sort of indicates that he might, but I'd be surprised if he starts ahead of Yank. And I suppose actually probably will. I think he'll be fine to play. Do you think Nauru will play in the World Cup? Talking about Villy, I don't know. Why do you think the Boks have not more of their sevens players like Snutler in their team? Snutler's not the best wing in the country, so he's not going to make the team. And until he's the best, he's probably not even the best wing at Stormers at the moment. I think Leon Zass is out playing him. So that's probably why. To be fair, it's Quacker Smith there who's a sevens player. Chisholm Colby played sevens before he's there. Who are the sevens players in that box squad? Steve Mozanoche was there. He played sevens. Ruan Null was in there a couple of years ago. It was from a sevens perspective. Are there any other players I'm missing from a sevens point of view? I don't think so. I think Lukanya Am will be an incredible sevens player. What happened to France Ludica? I don't know where France Ludica went, actually. Jan says, yeah, I want Ackerman to be the next coach by Sway. So I'll take both Ludica for director of rugby and Ackerman head coach. Keepers, can you imagine? Frank says that Chituka, Ruiz, Libok, Orense, Lowe, Norkia, Talme, Khalan, Fassi. I think those are the players he's back into. Should be in the box squad, I'm assuming. Yeah, so he says Kwak played sevens. Yeah, I mentioned Kwak. Do you think sevens adds a great deal to a player, or does it from form sevens not translate to the 15? I think sevens makes you a much better all-round player, you know, and I think that we see sevens players being able to do things that 15s players can't. I think Werner Koch, for example, I personally like him at centre, but as a wing is much better over the ball and you know, from that sort of perspective, then your average winger would be. So I think, and from a skill set point of view, for example, Quacker Smith being a forward in the 15s game, look at the skill set. he can catch. He can even kick a ball. He's got a good pair of hands. His awareness is very good. So I think that there is a lot of value in playing sevens in terms of bringing it across to the 15s game. The problem is that your typical sevens athlete is not necessarily someone which translates to a 15s game from a size point of view. It's whether you can make a step up with your size. Do you think Russ is really that good when he plays good teams? He's not at all flash. We run another seven. It's time for Nokia to get a test cap by far been the best lock for the last 3 years. I think the next box lock comment will be Etzebeth and Nokia. Yeah, I think it was Johan Ackerman actually said that he reckons that he would play Nokia this series. He says you know what you get from Franco Masters. You don't need to worry about him. He said, but if you want to establish some depth, play Nokia and let him. And I mean, I could see why. I think Nokia is very much in the mastered mold in that he's got a very good engine on him. He'll just keep running all day. And he just gives you that sort of 8, 9 out of 10 every week. He's so consistent. That is a very easy player to select because you just know he's reliable. Nothing flash, nothing that's but just consistent, and consistency is a very underrated quality. Let's bring Urdendal to the box. I wouldn't bring Urdendal to the box, to be fair. I know he's played very good, but I just don't think he's an international player. France, Ludicrous in Japan. Well, there we go. Roscoe Speckman, yeah, Oscar obviously played sevens. Next, I think it takes time for players and coach to come together to play well. The last team was together for 3 seasons before going on to play in 3 back-to-back finals. Good point. But let's talk about this weekend. Okay, so we've had 69 votes, and everybody is backing the Bulls to do the business against the Sharks. If we look at this weekend's schedule for some ruggers, there's Super Rugby on Friday before this Curry Cup on Friday evening. It's the Western Province on the back of a loss against the Lions up against the Griquas. That is at 4 o'clock, followed by the Free State Cheetahs taking on the Pumas at 6 o'clock. Then the first URC playoff game of the season will be at 8:30 on Friday night as Ulster host Munster. On Saturday, there's Super Rugby, also Curry Cup First Division, and then the other 3 playoff games for the URC. Bulls taking on Sharks at 1:45. It is an early game. We will be live for that, so make sure you don't miss it. Leinster taking on Glasgow Warriors at 4:15. You expect Leinster to do the business there. Before the Stormers take on Edinburgh at 7 o'clock, and we'll be live for that game as well. There's plenty of Premiership Rugby. There's one Curry Cup match on Saturday. It's a decent one, though. It's Sharks versus the Lions. I expect to see quite a strong Lions side. Obviously, won't be the strongest Sharks side. And then there's some top 14 on Sunday as well. And yeah, that's the action. Then next weekend there'll be URC semi-finals. I think it's one on Friday, one on Saturday, and one Curry Cup match. The weekend, and I think it's Super Rugby playoffs. And then the weekend after that, actually no, there's 3 Curry Cup matches next weekend. And then I think it's the top 14 final, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, as we kind of wind our way down. Who will take Archea's space? It has to be Nakia. Who are you expecting to be in the next dark horse in the 2023 World Cup? I don't know, actually. I think I have a better idea of what happens during these international. I think they'll give us a bit of idea of who's gonna do what. Because I think that I was gonna say I think that Scotland had a chance, but I think Scotland have fallen off the radar a little bit. But Scotland of last year, I was very excited for. So I think Italy could do quite well. I think Italy maybe could do a lot better than expected. Maybe they can get to a quarterfinal, maybe even a semi-final. I think there's something quite exciting happening with Italian rugby. They've got a very good junior side. Got some very very exciting X Factor sort of players like Svagar Busy, who's also starting to come good here. Henry says, I don't think Rassi agrees with you, Henry, remember, because Rassi tweets that's how you respond after you did get the call up to the BOK camp. That Rex and 72% of people are going to be wrong. I was Peter said to tweet, you have similar roles in the BOK setup. What do you think of the All Blacks? I see that they're going to have a bit of a fly half issue because I see that Richie Mwanga is looking to go overseas after 2023, as is Bowden Barrett. So they could be a little bit short of fly halves. But yeah, Luke reckons Fiji. I suppose you've got Fiji and Tonga who could have some very depending on who they can get into play. I saw that Fekitoa, Israel Folau, all these guys will be back playing some rugby across all some of the Pacific Island teams. So, yeah, maybe the Pacific Island side will be the dark horse because they'll have some new players. Tonga in the block pool. If the Bulls play and somehow stop the Sharks scrum and stop Mapimpi and Bulls should win by 15 points. Now I see what you're talking about. Tian says Italy would have to beat New Zealand and France to get a quarter. No chance. Okay, so I'm actually putting money on it. Italy are going all the way. They're beating it. They're going to beat New Zealand. They're going to beat France, and they're going to go all the way and win the World Cup. I'm actually going to put some money on it now. There we go. You heard it here first. Where were you during the 2009 Semi Rugby final when the Bulls destroyed the Chiefs 61-17? I have no idea, mate. I was, 13 at the time? I couldn't even begin to tell you where I was. I wasn't at Loftus or anything. I probably didn't care because it wasn't the Lions. Matthew Dixon's back in Namibia to win the World Cup. Well, there we go. I'm going Italy. I wonder what the odds are. Rugby World Cup betting. If Betway has odds for it, I'm putting money right now on Italy to win the World Cup. There we go. Somebody find me some odds. Italy 1001. See, now we're talking. Now we are talking. South Africa at 5.5 is not bad, you know. Let's see if there's any bets there, people. Okay, so it's too early for that. I need to find some place to put some money on Italy. 1,001 odds. Back myself. Louis reckons Tonga's going to beat Scotland and Ireland so they can go through. USA to win the World Cup. Let's go Italy. Imagine Ireland win the World Cup. We'll never hear the end of it. Alistair could see us coaching Namibia at the moment. Backing Spain to actually qualify and win the World Cup. Put 100 rand. There's 100k in the bag. Yeah, the problem is having 100 rand. But imagine. That is a good point. Imagine. Maybe put 1,000 rand and then go buy a house. Leicester City all over again. When that happens, we'll share it with them. We will 3 half cups in the sleeve. Were you shocked Leicester couldn't win the Heineken Cup? I wouldn't say I was shocked. I mean, I didn't predict it, but I think any team can be beaten. When it comes to a final of that kind of magnitude, you don't get there by accident. You know, so La Rochelle weren't there by accident. So, you know, when they do the win and stuff like that, yes, there's always an underdog in a final, but just because the team name, for example, might not be the standard team, doesn't mean that that current team doesn't have it in it to do it. Italy won't even win against Kenya. I mean, Italy did just beat Wales. Just fun fact. Do you reckon the Sharks can cause an upset at Loftus? They are known for their upsets these days. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to whether the Sharks pick up or not. If the Sharks pick up this weekend, they can go all the way. And beat the Bulls, and you never know, maybe go and actually win the tournament. Because they've got it in them from a playing personnel perspective. The problem is they're also a side who can very much be beaten by probably Zebra on their day. Because they are that inconsistent. But anyway, I'm going to go watch tennis, people, because Rafa Nadal is playing against Djokovic, and I'm going to get some work done. So it was fantastic seeing everybody again on the stream. My predictions this weekend, I'm going Bulls and Stormers to win. So I'm going to go Bulls, Stormers, Leinster. I'm going to go Ulster. Massive call. I'm going to go Ulster. Those are my calls. Ulster, Bulls, Stormers, Leinster. That's going to be my call. People will see you on Thursday for our next show. It'll be a lunchtime show, hopefully, as long as the internet and the power and the water and everything does cooperate. But until then, please do keep very well. Please do smash a like on the video. Please subscribe to the channel as well. If you'd like to become a member, it is our pinned comment there. You can become a member. Every little bit helps because, yeah, the reality is we can only keep doing this for so long. In terms of I'm busy looking for jobs and stuff like that. And if I find them, then this all sort of comes to an end. So we like to do this for as long as we can, but obviously that only happens whilst it is still sustainable. And right now it is very much semi-sustainable. So yeah, if you guys would like to support us, then that's how you can support us. Apart from that, just giving a like, giving a subscribe, getting your mates to come and subscribe, sharing around the link, and letting everybody get into this community. That all does help us build the channel. So thank you guys for keeping us going. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the transfer show. If you guys are keen football fans, other than that, we will see you on Thursday for the rugby news show, and then we'll be live this weekend for the URC playoffs. Keep well, keep safe, and I'll chat to you guys.